Willie,
what's happening?
Here we go. Long time no see. Long time no speak. Adam Hill is here, frozen, but he'll get that fixed at some point. I did send out a message earlier, but that wasn't really me. That the late night pod was canceled tonight, but clearly it was not. I got hacked. You know what really happened, right?
No.
We were talking earlier about the podcast, and we had some hosting availability issues tonight. So I kind of made a decision earlier today. I was like, we're not gonna be able to do it. And then you and I were talking. We're like, we could do it. But I had already put up a auto tweet.
Oh,
okay. And then I completely forgot about it. And then Adam's like, we're not doing it. I'm like, I forgot to delete the auto tweet, the scheduled tweet. What an idiot. So
you kind of pulled the Raiders like with Tanner Muse.
Yeah. Yep. Except we probably disappointed people by actually doing it. They were probably all happy that we weren't going to do it. Like, God damn it, they're going to do it.
Yeah. So now nobody's coming in.
Well, they'll be here. They'll be here in droves. So Adam will be here in a minute. So we left the show today, and the latest news on Evander Kane of the Sharks was the league had concluded its gambling investigation, which I don't believe they really even tried. But now they had a new deal where the estranged wife is claiming sexual assault and battery. And so at that point, you're like, okay, we're probably in Trevor Bauer territory here. We're probably in Deshaun Watson territory here. So this guy ain't playing for a while. So we'll bring in Adam. Adam, I was just looping in the audience on whatever the Evander Kane news is. I didn't see it. So Willie's going to tell us about it. So what happened, Willie?
There was a statement. San Jose Sharks are aware of additional allegations that are unrelated to the National Hockey League's initial investigation of Evander Kane. We take the allegations very seriously and have been in communication with the NHL. The league will continue to have our full cooperation regarding the ongoing investigation. The Sharks and Evander have agreed that he will not be participating in Sharks 2021 training camp until further notice. The Sharks will have no further comment on this matter at this time. So originally it was, when all this came out about with the wife, the NHL had concluded its gambling investigation and simultaneously, while we were on the air, released that statement. Yep. And at the same time said, well, the NHL's aware of this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it was that he was going to participate in the camp. Now, or not now, roughly around 7:20 Pacific time. Just before that, they released that statement that they discussed it and he will not be participating while this investigation goes on.
Oh boy, we got a Boise superstar BJ Rains. If that's real BJ Rains, he needs to write real.
That's the real BJ Rains, because we were just DMing about his upcoming trip to Las Vegas with the fam.
Nice. Brady Legal Podcast. One guy who thinks he's a lawyer, one guy who knows some people that need a lawyer. And so no legal podcast tonight. I will not give any more information than this. We have two attorneys. One tested positive for COVID. The other's unavailable. All right, let's move on.
Can I guess?
We're shorthanded. We're a little shorthanded on the legal side. So we'll, and I wasn't our third. Well, Xavier he's probably awake in Chicago, but at this time of night, Chicago time, he'll have another 75 tweets he sends out between now and 4 a.m. And Dan Lust, who we like to use on the air as another backup. I mean, he's got a family and he's a big timer, so wasn't gonna reach out to him at midnight. So you'll have to deal with us, and we'll probably get into something legal. And like you said, Adam thinks he's a lawyer, so there'll be something good here. So
I feel like I've studied more law than most lawyers based on all the podcasts I've done with Justin.
Yeah, I mean, we read the stories. We try to. We listen. We absorb.
I feel like Adam takes the law and politics more serious than a lot of lawyers and a lot of politicians.
Definitely politicians.
It's true.
Oh, I mean, by the allegations, we know Adam takes the law more seriously than Michelle Fiore. Was it Victoria Seaman that she's accused of beating the crap out of?
I'm here for that.
You know, I was thinking of that. She's kind of like a little stocky lady. And I was actually thinking, could my SO handle her? And I actually think the SO would throat punch her. And I think she would be fine. I would, if that really happened, and I'm not sure it's the truth, because, oh boy, we'll get to Lauren Boebert in a second. But do you think that really happened, Adam? That Fiore freaking like knocked Victoria Seaman to the ground? I don't know who it was.
Yeah,
Person?
I can see it. I didn't see a story, but
You didn't see it? I thought the allegations were out like 2 weeks ago. Anyone else see it on the podcast?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it move on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm a different person for 18 weeks a year. So
that's a good point. You're barely informed about anything outside of the Raiders.
That's true. I would say, well, this week I have other responsibilities though.
Right.
In fact, I would say that Fiore Seaman, if that is a fight, should probably replace the Nick Diaz fight, which there's no way that's happening.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Your newspaper reported it September 7th.
Okay.
Seaman accuses Fiore of bullying and assaulting her at City Hall. She accused harassing, bullying, physically abusing. And I think there was an element where she got knocked to the ground. So, and of course, the Fiore side is saying it's completely false. So maybe.
I mean, I believe it.
You believe that it happened?
Yeah. I missed, speaking of, since it's a legal podcast, I missed the Supreme Court ruling. Did you see this?
Well, real quick. The allegations include an altercation at City Hall on January 11th. Seaman claims that Fiore broke her index finger and then grabbed her hair and threw her to the ground. I mean, that could be easy to prove. At least you got to show the broken finger. There's got to be video, no? Around City Hall?
Couldn't you break your own finger?
What do you think? Jim, do you have sources on this? Was it a sucker punch? And by the way, I'm not.
If she has a broken finger, doesn't she have like like some sort of record at urgent care somewhere to treat it?
That's a good point.
She's running around with a broken finger. She's running around with a busted finger.
That's a good point. And by the way, now I have to apologize to the SO. I don't want to like roll her into imaginary fights. That's not cool. I will tell you this, that I Adam knows I did date another lady for a while, and I had no problem getting into bar dust-ups with her around. In fact, there may have been a couple.
Here's the other question.
Willie doesn't even want to ask where. One was at, I think, the Wallapai Lodge, and the other was actually on Coronado Island. But I think we were stepping into someone else being bullied in one of the cases. So
sure,
I don't mind.
I mean, I have no doubt that happened. I can picture it.
I don't make these things up. So you've seen me in action. I'm quite the glutton for shots. Now I don't mean drinking shots, but like taking punches and getting bottles thrown at me.
You're more of a glutton for the giant like yard long slushy drinks downtown. That's your kryptonite.
Yeah, that is. It hurts.
Really, you hit the yard glass with the
not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. Derek bought out the freaking mermaids and the plate. What was the other one? The Bayou. Those were my
Bayou.
Oh my God, they're great.
Steve's move always, every time he had those, was to just say he's walking home and then actually start walking home.
It was 3 times I tried to walk into downtown, and I've never lived closer than 8 miles from downtown.
You're like Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man, just walking down the off ramp.
I would have if they didn't catch me. I would have. Yeah.
Hey, let me go back to Fiore real quick because I got a question. So in this article at the RJ City Hall scuffle, it says that includes an altercation at City Hall on January 11th in which Seaman claims Fiore broke her index finger, and then grabbed her hair and threw her to the ground. Don't all government buildings have surveillance and cameras? I mean, wouldn't this be on film?
You would think so. Yeah, I would have to see. And by the way, Brady, I think I've said it on the show. Glitter Gulch might be the only strip club in town I've never been to. I never was at.
Oh, really?
I used to go in there back in 91, 92.
Willie, was there a back room and well, first of all, answer that. Was there a back room?
At Glitter Gulch?
Yeah, was there like a lap dance area in the back?
Man, I don't remember. I just remember going in there late at night, and for some reason, there was the guy who managed Fuddy Duddies when I DJ'd there. It was after that because I think he went there and managed it. Gary Casio, who's now passed away. I think he was managing it, and we went in there. He's like, "Yeah, come check it out." And I don't remember.
Yeah,
It wasn't a place.
I actually feel that where Vegas Vicky is now in Circa might have been like the back room to Glitter Gulch. It might be a little bit north of that, though. That might have been part of the Las Vegas club.
Vegas Bill says yes, it was to the right.
They had a back room?
Back room.
He remembers. That's awesome.
To the right.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Well, we know the layout of all these places. Tender Trap is that Club Platinum now? That's your place, right, Adam?
No, I thought Tender Trap was out on Boulder Highway.
No, Tender Trap I thought was the original name of Club Platinum.
Club Platinum.
Okay. Well,
The one that's next to Tuscany.
Right.
Right. We've said the reason we were there is because it was on Bar Rescue, and I was at a party one night. Now I will not reveal the name of the local media celebrity who was hosting the party, and the Bar Rescue episode came on, and everybody was like, "All right, let's move the party there," and like basically got like a shuttle to go over there.
That's so awesome.
And it was horrifying in every possible way.
If I would venture to say that the interview room at the Raiders facility is slightly bigger than the inside of that joint.
And cleaner.
Well, yeah, of course.
And don't want to say the last. I don't want to say the other one. That's probably could get me in trouble. But yeah, it's yeah. I would say the entertainment is lacking. Also.
Oh, horrible.
I don't think we need to do rhymes with, and I'm not sure that this was the Rhett Bokamoto.
It's correct. So.
It's in the ballpark.
Yeah, it's correct.
Wait, hold on. You lived at what apartments across the street from which one? Tender Trap?
I would imagine in the like in the Hughes Center or across the street. No, there's no real apartments there, right? They would have to be up on Paradise.
No, there are some like apartments that down off of Freda. Is the street name Freda, Freda, just down
Frida?
Flamingo, Frida or Freda? Vegas Bill, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Tender Trap.
But is that no? I'm saying are those because there was like
complex? I mean, it could be the one. There's one on
Koval and Flamingo. So
yeah, there's one on Koval that this is not like. This is not giving out secrets, but JT the Brick used to live there when we worked with him at Sportsman.
Sure.
So those apartments behind the Maxim down Koval.
Yeah.
Okay, I know where you're talking about. Yeah.
The Maxim. It's a good old reference.
I lived in the apartments right next to what is now Silver Sevens in college.
I subletted there.
You did?
Remember?
Sure. Yeah.
That was a scary place.
I loved it there.
Adam, are you a sushi guy? I can't remember.
Used to be.
So you know that place that everybody goes to on Flamingo in Maryland? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like really popular.
Yeah.
I lived in the apartments behind that on Algonquin when it was cool to live. When it was cool to live in that area over there by the boulevard, and they went downhill like quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
That sushi place is phenomenal, though.
That's Sushi Ma or something. What's the name of that place? Now I'm curious because I've been there too in Flamingo.
It's
Is it even open? Everything else in that it seems like everything else in that shopping center is closing.
Well, that was
used to be Plush.
As you know, that was the plaza. That was the home of Super Salad, which is where I was literally every day of college for 2 years. And God, that place was great.
You know what was in that? You know what was in that shopping center, Adam? Was the place that you learned about when you brought up? I can't remember who was on the show. What were we talking about? But Cafe Michelle.
Yeah, Cafe Michelle was in there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's that's where the now president of the WWE, Nick
Yama,
Khan,
that's
used to
it.
work. Yeah.
It's good. It's small, but it's good.
Yama Sushi.
It's crazy because You
The
go in
line
there.
is
The
incredible.
line is incredible, and then you leave there. If you go at night, you leave there, and there's a bench out there. You never know who's going to be sitting there smoking crack out of a pipe. And I'm not
Yeah.
embellishing. I've walked out of there and just seen crackheads sitting on that bench in that plaza.
Well, unrelated, Steve knows, like, Super Salad, like I said, was my spot, to the point where, like, I went out of town for a weekend, and the manager called me to make sure I was okay. That's where Joe Jackson used to eat regularly, and I used to see him in there all the time, which was a very weird experience. We were buddies.
I tell you, there was a couple camped out, just hanging out, kind of like just living.
At your 7-Eleven?
No, they cleared that out. Actually, I know they used to have
Okay.
that table out front. It was like, yeah, that was like homeless Satriali's or Satriali's in the
Yeah,
Sopranos.
deli.
You'd have all the mob guys sitting out front, and Paulie Walnuts would tan himself with that whatever that foil thing is.
Yeah.
That was the equivalent of the 7-Eleven I was at. There used to be a little table, and they would just let these like homeless people sit there just all day.
Yeah, at Steve's 7-Eleven, the one that you could walk to from his house, there, as he's saying, there's a table. They used to just play board games all day, every day out there.
By the way,
Every time.
I don't want to give away where I live, but I can actually walk to 3 7-Elevens.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Steve, by
That's
the
the
way,
closest one.
Yeah. I mean, they're all kind of equidistant. Go ahead, Willie.
by the way, the over under that you proposed earlier, there's been a tweet that's been put out at 9/11. Robin Leonard, what pressure? Good to be back at it. See you guys soon. So there's one. There's
So
one.
when you guys
Oh,
started this,
Explain to Adam. I did. Well, I mean, the number I said was ridiculous. It was not replies. It was just tweets during the season. I said it way too high. That I said Leonard would send out 600 tweets over under during the season.
I'll take over.
Well, we were trying to eliminate
No,
replies.
no replies.
Oh, okay.
You got to be
Okay.
organic. Yeah.
If you do the replies, it's in the thousands.
Yeah. Well, I think he mostly tweets replies. I actually was starting to watch, because I didn't watch McCrimmon live because I was at UFC. I was starting to watch his presser over a little bit ago, and I didn't finish it, but I'm going to get back to it. I want to find out what Leonard was responding to. Leonard responded to the video of McCrimmon, and I don't know what he was talking about. I have to watch it.
Oh.
But the Golden Knights put out a video of McCrimmon's whole press conference today, and Leonard responded to it with like I think he said, "People, you mean my wife?" or something like that. And I don't know what exactly he meant, so I got to watch through it.
So is in regards to someone's question or McCrimmon's answer?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I gotta kind of watch it and figure that out. But it was interesting that he watched the video of the press conference and responded to it. I love it.
Our sales staff, if anyone's watching,
They are.
our sales staff, if anyone's watching, 1,000%. I don't even know what you would name it. Someone come up with a good name on Robin Leonard's Twitter account. Absolutely should get a sponsor for daily check-ins by our morning show of Robin Leonard's Twitter account. I don't think I spoke English there, but our morning show is going to talk about Robin Leonard's tweets a lot.
Oh, and we aren't?
It's within. It's ours will be within reason, because I can't do it every day. There's still for me. There's still something very weird about. I'm just gonna I'm gonna be honest here. Pull back the curtain, but there's something very weird about going in on Robin Leonard. I don't feel comfortable doing it.
I can see that, but I also feel like
You can. You see him. You have a relationship with him. So, but I'm not comfortable doing it.
Well, it's called the press box, so you could call it the Panda Press.
it's not bad. It sounds like you're cooking him or something.
Well, you know how they say, "Oh, I got pressed." You got pressed, or are you going to press him,
Sure.
or da. Or just like when we were all at dinner for the media dinner, you're like, "Oh man, you're not going to press Vinny."
You know what? Nothing like the Rick. Dude, I'm stealing that right now. I think we're doing the future. Screw it. Hail to
Hails
the
from the crease.
Mr. G.
That's great. What is this? Oh, Brady's trying to get us to talk about that Boebert mention. So according to Forbes, Boebert used campaign funds to pay rent. utility bills, according to her filing, campaign May Tuesday.
Kaluuya's awake.
Now the,
Dude, by the way, we're all over the place tonight. Your picture the other day of Kahlua in your chair. What did you put on that? Like, what's going on with the Wi-Fi or something?
What's the Wi-Fi?
Oh, what's the Wi-Fi? And the dog just like that was awesome. You and Bill Belichick with Nike. That was awesome.
It got some play all over the place.
I'm trying to remember if it was you. I think it was you that told me something the other day. I can't remember fully. But somebody was telling me that they were yelling at somebody and then they felt bad like at the end because they're like, they're just an idiot. Like, why am I getting so worked up at them? They're just a moron.
Willie, did you tell the story or did I tell the story?
I thought it was you, and I can't remember why.
It's probably me. I
think it was you. But you're like, I'm yelling and screaming at somebody, and then I just realized, why am I doing this? They're just dumb. Like, I just feel bad now about it. And I can't remember what that was about. But it does remind me of the Lauren Boebert story of, like, you know, yeah, first of all, she's one of the dumbest people that's ever held elected office, and that's saying something because there's a lot of them. But, like, she didn't know the rules and she messed up. Yeah, probably. She's a freaking idiot. Like, I don't know why you'd get all worked up and like, oh, let's get her. Like, she's just dumb. Like, what do you expect? She's a complete moron. Much like, and I'll tie it in since it's a legal podcast. You guys, I think a lot of people missed. There's a very significant ruling from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has ruled that vaccinated people worldwide are no longer humans and are now products of the state.
Huh.
Once you take the jab, you're no longer considered a human being. You officially become a transhuman owned and operated by the organization who patents the genome. This was decided officially.
This is decided officially.
Terrifying, actually.
So you know how people in their bios nowadays in Instagram, they put he or her or she or she. Does that mean I got to change my whatever now to an it?
It.
Yeah. If you're vaccinated, yeah, you're officially. Well, that's according to the Supreme Court. So, yeah, I guess so. Me too. Yeah. All of us. I think all three of us.
Do we have the it factor?
Sucks. Well, it just sucks really that they're not really reporting on it. You know, you would think when this kind of a ruling happens, there'd be a lot more
media.
Yeah, damn media. And that is, of course, according to a public servant who's now resigned. Tito Ortiz put that out today.
This is good to know.
I think it sucks.
Scalia dissented.
Sure, he was like, I'm not.
You know what's funny? I saw you tweet that. I didn't get a chance to read it. That's Tito retweeted that.
He posted it,
dude. He is. You know what? This is so mean to say, and I don't hate the guy, but man, him getting knocked out by Anderson Silva, boy, that was fun. It's so mean to say, but he got freaking clocked. My God.
I mean, I'll take it one step further and be really mean. I wish he didn't get knocked out. I wish he would have taken about 100 more punches.
Taking a beating.
Well, clearly didn't. I mean, he's clearly still logical and coherent enough to follow Supreme Court decisions.
Sure, coherent.
But why does the media talk about it though? That's what I want to know.
Willie, ask your question about UFC because we had a cliffhanger on the show. I gave out information about Lawler and Diaz, and I said I would definitely lean Lawler because of some of the developments, and it was -110 at the time. But I said I'm not really an expert on MMA anymore. Adam is. So Willie, what do you got? Because you were like, I got to ask Adam.
So Nick said, well, no, let's make it this. So we're going to go up. So they naturally, right after you weigh in, you get back to your normal weight, whatever you would be at. So the bigger thing is who would have had the tougher time cutting to get to make weight? Obviously, it would have been Diaz. Does that decision make it more difficult getting back to natural weight than fighting at that weight? Who is going to be in a better conditioned in feeling at the natural weight and You know what I mean? Because or would 170 have benefited one or the other, or is this going to benefit somebody?
Well, you'd usually think that it would benefit Nick because it would. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a much harder cut for Lawler. Except
Right, that's what I was suggesting too. I mean, clearly Nick was having there's something wrong with him where he can't.
Well,
he doesn't feel comfortable cutting. But
here's the
Lawler. But I was trying to say on the air, I think Lawler naturally is the bigger guy. But he's cut forever. But I would assume that, just to answer Willie's question, technically, like I would assume that Diaz is probably 195 normally, and that actually Lawler is north of 200 pounds. But I mean, it's close.
So this is complete conjecture and speculation on my part right now. I stood next to Nick today. Very oddly, it was a weird situation where we're standing in the hallway together. He ain't making 185 either.
Oh man.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't think so.
So what's wrong with him? There's something. I mean, there's been rumors that he's hurt.
Yeah, and I don't think he trained.
Oh no, you think?
Yeah, I don't think he trained. So I mean, I think he doesn't. I don't know how many people watched the interview. I don't know how many people watched the interview with Brett. Brett's the only one that got him because, by the way, just whatever. And people were calling me entitled on Twitter. Fuck you. I raced across town.
Wait, what? What happened?
I didn't complain. I expected it, but I raced across town from the Raiders to try to get to the Nick Diaz media day today so I can write a story. And I'm literally standing next to him in the hallway, and we go to walk in, and then he doesn't walk in with me. And I'm like, oh, where's he going to go? I wonder when he's going to start talking. And then I waited for an hour probably an hour and 20 minutes. And he's apparently just said, yeah, I'm not doing it, and blew it off.
Fuck. By the way, Willie, it's already Lawler went from 110 during the show to 130. Son of a bitch.
It's gonna keep going up.
Get it now.
So Nick did not do the media day, and people were sitting around all day. Now I tweeted out, listen, I think it's actually a better story for me that he didn't show up. I'll write the story and say, hey, Nick Diaz was doing crazy fucking Nick Diaz shit. This is why people love him. He showed up at the media day and then didn't actually go in to talk to the media. That's what Nick Diaz does. That makes it more interesting. It's an easy story to write. I don't care. But I tweeted out, Nick Diaz will not make his scheduled appearance at media day because he's Nick Diaz. That's just what he does. If somebody's like, fucking entitled MMA media. Dude, I'm not complaining that he didn't show up. I think it's better. I think it's great. Now it sucks for everybody else that sat around all day waiting to talk to Nick. I was doing Raider stuff all day, so I wasn't sitting there all day. But like I said, I think it makes the story better. I question where he is. I don't know. Again, I don't know how many people watch the interview, but he's furious. He goes, I don't know who's making me do this fight. Makes no sense. I already beat this guy. I should be fighting for the title. Dude, you haven't fought in 6 years. You haven't won in 9. What are you talking?
He's back and better than ever. Willie, if you have not covered this guy before, Nick was more so than Nate. It is the stream of irrational thoughts and conversation is mind-blowing. Adam and I were at one of the greatest press conferences ever. It was at Mandalay Bay, I'm pretty sure, post-fight press conference. And Adam, you remember, right? The whole thing on Stockton?
Of course.
It was the gift that kept giving. He was unreal.
Nate's the one that had the ongoing with Connor, not Nick, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
Nate, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Nick's press conference that Steve's referring to was talking about how he still lives in Stockton and he goes on his jog from his ghetto house. Now there's nice houses to run by, and the Raiders water. And now he has to run by these nice houses, and then he has to come back to his house where there's cigarette butts all over the ground that he smoked apparently. Which I was like, wait. You're the one that put the cigarette butts there, and you're complaining that they're there, but then you see the nice houses, but you live in the poor houses, and you have enough money. But then he told me one day, and I don't know if this was, I don't think it was at a scrum. I think I was talking to him for a one-on-one on the side, and I don't remember if this is on video anywhere or not, but he was complaining that, yeah, he has a lot of money, but nobody told him how to buy a house. Nobody ever taught him that.
That was the same one. No, I thought that was the same conversation. No, maybe it wasn't.
I don't know, but because I remember having a conversation with him. Oh, because he had not fought in a while. So this was another follow-up one that I'm talking about. That where we're like, we haven't fought in like a year and a half, and he was like, man, he's like, do you know how hard it is to like buy a house and like sign the paperwork and all? And we're like, yeah, but everybody does that. Like, I don't understand how that's a year and a half. Like, and you also have millions of dollars. What are you talking about?
It hasn't seemed to detain KJ Wright.
That's true. It's in a whirlwind 4 weeks, but he's chill.
He did, but you were the one that asked him because you were working on. I thought you were working on some sort of theme when he first got here. Wasn't it him? And he said, "I actually that part's easy. I got a place to stay." Like he had a place to stay. He was already set up. Was it him or was it somebody else? You remember?
I thought it was somebody else. I thought it was Denzel Perryman.
Maybe it was Perryman then. But okay, then it's Perryman. I mean, he found a spot.
Yeah, it's Nick Diaz is a very bizarre dude, man. But he also he has the mentality that there is a lot of people that have, especially a lot of people that grow up with not much, that you're still fighting the world, and that the world is against you, and it's a constant battle. Yeah, it's a fair point too, Brady. Sorry. We can talk about that in a minute. But Nick and Nate, Nick in particular, more so than Nate, still have this, this mentality that the world is against them and they're fighting every single day of their lives. And they haven't understood yet that you've won, and maybe when you do realize that, then you're not a fighter anymore and it takes your edge away or something like that. I suppose. But every single day is a fucking fight for them. And it's why people love them, and it's why they have appeal, and it's why Nick Diaz now, after 6 years and not winning a fight in almost a decade, is still this big draw that people want to see.
By the way, it's also why Nick Diaz is one of the only guys 8 days out from a fight can call Dana White, and he's like, I don't want to fight at that weight. Okay.
He didn't even call him. He just showed up. He showed up. He showed up yesterday. His team came over to the UFC headquarters, and he goes, I'm not making 170. Let's do it at 185. And Robbie Lawler was in the air. And Dana texted him, and he's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Nick wants to fight at 185 instead of 170. And Robbie was like, can we talk about this when I land? I'm in the air. And by the way, Robbie has already started his weight cut. He's down to 182. So it's completely ridiculous that this fight's going to be at 185. And like I said, I will be surprised if Nick makes 185. I'll be surprised.
What a classic moment that'll be. You bail on the weight. It's 15 pounds higher, and you don't make weight at the next weight.
I'll actually say I make the fight a slight underdog to happen. And that sucks because I am legitimately excited for Saturday. For Nick Diaz to be back. There's definitely a buzz when Nick Diaz fights, when any Diaz fights. I'm excited, even though it's two old guys. We've already seen the fight before 17 years ago. I get all that stuff, but I'm legitimately excited for Saturday, and I just don't think the fight's going to happen. But I hope it does.
Bummer. This is kind of deep diving. Did the financials change? Did they take money away from Diaz?
Not as far as I know. I mean, maybe they gave Lawler more.
Yeah.
Maybe Lawler was they're like, it's going to be 185, and Lawler's like, well, you're going to pay me more, maybe. But it shouldn't have changed on Nick's end. But it's baffling. I started watching. I started watching Brett's interview, like I said, with Nick earlier, and I think you've said this before. I love Brett's interview style. He's totally stays out of the way, and just gets people to say stuff. And goddamn, sometimes I don't even know what Nick's talking about. But I'm still fascinated by it.
He's right.
And I have no idea sometimes what he's saying. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's awesome.
Just can't wait to see what he's going to say next.
That's great.
Kind of like Damon Arnett.
That's true.
By the way, so one of the Raiders themes this week, Willie, has been, and outside the market, people have been really patting the Raiders on the back because I guess, Casey Hayward on Pro Football Focus doing pretty well by a number standpoint, Adam.
Casey Hayward's awesome.
Right?
Five targets, 0 catches against him.
I feel like Damon Arnett, we've heard Nothing about him.
Yeah, who?
Well, no, all you've heard is bad because of the one bad play
Yeah.
that he had, but he had a couple of breakups and he only was in for a couple of snaps against Baltimore. It was a really bad fuck up
Well,
against the Steelers.
That's the problem when you're in your second year as a first round pick and you're not getting snaps.
Right.
Like, that's a problem.
He had like 2 or 3 against Baltimore. He had a few again when he had to come in against Pittsburgh. He had a breakup, and then he had the one big play against Juju, and he got beat, and then he just kept running, and he didn't touch him when he was down. So Juju got up, got an extra 5 yards or whatever it was. So yeah, that's all that's being brought up about him. But we haven't seen any snaps. We haven't seen him in any game time situation really, other than a handful of snaps here or there. This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. When Hayward's playing as well as he is, that's right. He went in for Mullen because Mullen went out for a bit.
Mullen's been good. He's been good in the past. He's been good this year. But it shouldn't, complete. I mean, I guess it should because you got Hayward, but it shouldn't completely knock you out of the rotation. And he kind of has been. As you said, he came in for a few. The other issue is that Nate Hobbs has been so good in the slot.
Yes.
Which has been, I mean, the Raiders have been saved by their late picks. And not all of them, a couple of them. They've been saved by those guys. Because if you look back, and if they hadn't got anybody, if they didn't get Hobbs and Crosby with some later round picks, they'd have like no contributors from the last couple of years' draft.
You think about the guys who have stepped up, right, outside of the veterans, which we talked about today, and we'll talk to Gus Bradley about tomorrow, is the guys who, and I asked KJ that today, in terms of having the direct fingerprints of Gus Bradley, meaning KJ, Denzel, Quentin Jefferson, Hayward, right, having that direct effect from playing with him. It's been Crosby, 4th round, right, last year as the edge rusher, and then Hobbs this year. What do you go in the 5th?
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the 2 surprise names outside of the veterans that have been doing everything, and then collectively as a unit. But, yeah, Hobbs has been fantastic. And Crosby, obviously, what is he? He's ranked number 1 edge rusher, right?
Yeah, the thing about Crosby, which has been most impressive, I guess.
He leads all players with 19 pressures.
Yeah, but he's always been good at getting the quarterback. In the past, he has not been good at all against the run. He's been among the worst in the league. And he's been much better this year at showing discipline, setting an edge, and only going when it's time to go. And in the past, he has just gone after the quarterback as soon as the ball is snapped every single play. You can't do that in the NFL. And when you're playing in all situations like he has been, and this year he's been better. So that's where he's really made the most improvement, and I think it's helped him overall as a player too.
I asked Willie about this today. Go ahead, Willie.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say injury-wise, Adam, what's going on the offensive line? So Leatherwood back, Incognito. What's going on with your buddy Richie?
Still no practice. I'm actually surprised at this point that they never put him on IR because all you have to do is miss 3 games when you go on IR, and this will be the 3rd game, and I expect him to miss this week. But now, if you do, then you still have to miss 3 games. So I think they keep hoping that the next week will be the week. They just haven't got there yet. They do need him back. I know he's old, and you can say what you want about him, but they need him back. Like, outside of Colton Miller, it's been an abomination on the offensive line. They've got somewhat fortunate that like Jermaine Illuminor has played all right, but Leatherwood's been bad. I think that was a blessing that he got hurt last week, if he even got hurt. That was kind of they played a little bit better when he was out, and obviously James has been a mess at center. The optimism around the team, I feel like, is hey, the offense has been clicking without the offensive line doing anything.
Yeah.
If the offensive line does improve, and you would think younger players will get a little bit better at some point. If they do improve, then the offense could be that much better. But I think you also look and say, yeah, the offensive line has been bad, And that has led to the running game being completely non-existent. And at some point, like I'm a firm believer in passing almost every down, but you do have to be able to run at some point. And they haven't been able to at all.
The Raiders have the 10th lowest, or they're tied for the 8th lowest rushing attempts, 46. And they have the second lowest yards, 134.
And to this point, I don't think it's too crazy. Like, the reason that Leatherwood wasn't projected as a first-round pick is not because he sucked. It's because the majority of scouts said this is a guard. This is not a tackle. This is a guard in the NFL. And guards don't have the same, draft value that tackles do. And so most people said, well, since he has to move to guard, he's probably a late second, early third-round pick. But the Raiders saw him as a tackle because he played tackle in college. And they wanted to, they needed a right tackle, and they said, this is our guy. So they went and got him in the first round where you would take a tackle. So it's not the craziest thing to say, hey, you should move to guard, because that's where a lot of people thought he should go. The problem is if you do that, and I think this is the problem with some other guys too that they've kept around for a while, if you do that, you're admitting that you blew the pick. And so it becomes difficult to do that. But I think you have to be able to.
Well, if that happens next year, I mean, what's the big deal? They've already admitted in some ways that they blew the Arnett pick, right? I actually admire a franchise that's, I don't want to give up on a guy after a year, but I admire a franchise that's like, all right, we got some urgency here, so we got to bring in help, and maybe this guy will develop, but we're not waiting.
No, I admire that too. It's just hard to do if you're a franchise.
Well, they did it, but they already did it with Casey Hayward and Damon Arnett, so. And it's not like Arnett's not playing. Leatherwood will be a decent guard. I hope he's a really good guard if he moves inside, at a minimum. At least he'll be playing.
Yeah, I mean,
Adam, I mean, you guys cover him more than I do. You're in front of him. I don't. I mean, the way Mayock speaks, Mayock is very honest. I mean, Mayock's already kind of admitted, they've made some mistakes. I mean, you get rid of 2 third-rounders. Basically, one before he ever played and one didn't even get to play. You're like, no, you know what? We got egg on our face, but let's move on.
He has done it, but I'll ask you this. If Cleve Ferrell was taken in the 4th round instead of the 1st, would he be on the team?
Maybe not.
I don't think he would.
I mean, I would argue they'd have a lot more patience with him. And obviously there's a different salary. I mean, I think he'd be this is stupid. He'd be a great value pick in the 4th round. He's a rotational defensive lineman. He's just he just ain't ready yet.
Yeah.
And yet Crosby was taken in the 4th round of that draft, and look where he's at.
Yeah. And Crosby, good rapper.
Is that right?
I mean, better than I thought, for sure. There's no question about that.
Well, I got something right up Adam's alley. Let me find it here. Well, it's about the fans of Las Vegas. By the way, have you noticed
of which team?
No, in Las Vegas sports, just in general,
Vegas
right?
Fans in general.
The city. Have you guys noticed any issues? Well, it was at the Ravens game, right? They've only played one home game. Did you notice any issues at the Ravens game where you're like, these fans are stupid. They don't know when to cheer and when to be quiet? Because did Carr make a reference to being quiet or something?
Yeah, and he's not trying to be obnoxious about it, but it's clear what he's doing. Before the first game in Vegas, he issued kind of a public proclamation of, hey, we can't wait to have you guys here. We love it. He did this during his availability on a Wednesday before the game.
Right.
We love that you guys are going to be there. We can't wait for you guys to be there. Just remember, only be loud when we're on defense. When we're on offense, keep as quiet as you can.
Right.
So he was kind of trying to get out in front of it then. After the game, he made a comment about, well, they were kind of loud when we were on offense. Hopefully that doesn't stay the same in the future. And then he did it again on Instagram today. He wrote something along the lines of, I can't wait to hear you guys making all kinds of noise, and then parentheses, when we're on defense.
So what do you think happened? It was Las Vegas locals cheering when the Raiders were on offense, or there were enough Ravens fans there making noise?
I think it was locals, and I also think that there was some encouragement from the stadium at the wrong times.
Encouragement or like stuff up on the screen, or are they pumping in noise?
I mean, yeah, I would say encouragement. Yeah, and as Q pointed out, they're doing the wave when Joe McCoy is being carted off, which is probably not good.
Oh, fuck. I didn't see that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Here was Derek Carr's exact quote on September 9th before the Monday night game. He said, "I'm really excited. I think that preseason game I was hyped even though I knew I wasn't playing. Just going through pregame was awesome. Hearing our fans and when the defense made a big hit, hearing them go nuts and things like that, that was a lot of fun. But when we're on offense, let's try and be quiet. Let's be as quiet as we can. You can clap for first downs. You don't have to go crazy, but hopefully stay quiet on offense and save all our energy for hopefully when we score and when we're on defense." That's it. Oh, and I know they'll be excited, but let's just try to be as best we can on offense to be as quiet as we can.
This is definitely, I don't know if we'll have the time to get to it tomorrow. I would love to open the phones and just pose the question, are we stupid, sports fans? Well, because I saw kind of an exchange, but it really wasn't. The number one Raiders media guy out there, Raider Cody, said, while you're getting loud and crazy at Allegiant Stadium this Sunday, please remember to quiet down when the offense has the ball. More crowd awareness will only increase our home field advantage. Loud on defense, quiet on offense. Matt Gutierrez, who is in radio and is very outspoken as a fan, and he's a real smart aleck. He's a good follow on Twitter. He said, why does this continue to be our narrative? Literally every quarterback in sports gives his home crowd the quiet down arm gesture at some point. People need to stop acting like fans in Las Vegas have never been to a football game before. And that's my take. I'm tired of being told that fans here are stupid.
Then act like you've been to a football game before.
But Adam, if they put some kind of clapping motion up on the big screen, I have to clap.
Okay, yeah. There may have been some encouragement from the in-stadium hosts that maybe are more accustomed to doing hockey.
Oh, you're saying who? By the way, who? What's the chick's name?
It's not her. It's a different girl.
It's not Katie Marie.
No. I know it's a different lady. It's a lady who did a radio in L.A. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't either.
Wait, so you're telling me Schoonach was screaming that they should make noise on offense?
I mean, I think there were some miscommunications going on in this.
Do we need to get him on tomorrow or Friday?
I don't think it might not have been him. It might have been her.
Wow, that's a serious allegation. So now you're saying the female host of the Raiders games might not know football.
I was told by fans. That's all I know.
Her name is Sib Vicious on Twitter. Sibley Scholes.
Yeah, Sibley Scholes. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that, and I get it. You want them to calm down, or when the quarterback will do this at coming up to the line of scrimmage. Is Adam? Do you remember during some of the Zooms, especially with without a crowd, or when they were in the bubble, and we were asking them what the biggest difference? And one of the things that stood out, DeBoer was saying, or the players, is when they were yelling out plays, they now had to come up with hand signals or little signs or little looks because they didn't want the other team to hear it. They've become accustomed. Can you imagine in the middle of T-Mobile, which has been built and specifically with acoustics and the design of that thing for sound to reverberate, so when the crowd goes, it sounds louder. But they become accustomed in how to hear. And when a coach is yelling or when a player's yelling across the ice and you got, 18,500 compared to 60,000, I get it. But as I've said before, T-Mobile, it's like this, where Allegiant, it's like this. So that yelling in the crowd and the acoustics are just, it's just drowned. That sound is just deafening. I feel like
Allegiant is loud.
It's loud, but T-Mobile is thunderous as well. And I'm just saying that the hockey players, they've grown accustomed to hearing what they got to hear. And I'm not disagreeing with Carr and that the fans should pipe down on offense and so they can hear what's going on and hear the count and the snap count. It's just funny that I remember that being an issue, talking to or asking on Zoom during the bubble, but mainly last year when the season started and there was no crowd. The differences in the things that you had to adjust. And DeBoer saying, you're used to yelling things out. Now you can't. You got to find a different way to get to yell what you want done.
It's a process.
I like this topic. This will definitely be on the terrestrial side on Thursday or Friday. So I'm looking forward to this.
Was it the UNLV game or the Monday night game that during the national anthem that the fans yelled night?
UNLV.
Still doing that, huh?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, by the way,
so disrespectful.
Amazing national anthem. A lady named Lorena Peril from Luxor and Fantasy. Yeah. Amazing. I think they were also working some effects in the stadium. It actually blew me. It actually blew me away because I heard. I mean, it's a concert versus one solo singer on the field in front of a quiet crowd. But I thought the sound at Allegiant for that national anthem before the Iowa State game was insane.
By the way, is it not Peril?
Could be.
It was Lorena Peril.
Is that right?
I mean, I thought so.
I just assumed that she was Latino and that it might be Peril.
It could be. I don't know.
It's probably a rolling R.
Petty?
Do me a favor. If Brady's still there, do some research on that because you found the Nick Diaz UFC 137 faster than I could.
It's true. He's a good researcher.
All right, we're gonna close in a couple of minutes. Hey Willie, I wanted to go down a couple of picks in the NFL and get Adam's reaction. Willie, how close are you picking your 5 games for Sunday?
Relatively close. We could go over the board.
We don't have to go over the whole board. Just give me a couple of games that you like. Pull up the board because I'll start by giving one I like, and tell me if I'm a moron here. And actually, people are betting with me. Adam, I like Minnesota to beat Seattle. You can still get 2 at a bunch of spots. Zimmer is now 31-15 after a loss. ATS. Now I know Dalvin Cook's ankle is jacked, but we hit this last night too with Petro. I really think it's funny that Pete Carroll's going in on Russell Wilson here and there when he can. So I'm not saying Seattle's coming apart, but I think Minnesota wins that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. Let's see, I'm trying to find the full board.
I'm pulling
here.
up. Yeah, that's what I just did.
I think, and I think you saw Seattle, come back to earth a little bit after their first game. Obviously, we don't react overly to first week 1 games, but I think you saw both those teams quite a bit different in week 2 than they were in week 1. Minnesota looked a lot better. They should have won that game if not for the field goal that we've heard the audio of about 10 times this week. In Seattle, crashed back to earth a little bit. So I like Minnesota, the quote unquote desperate team, getting points at home. It's a good spot.
It's a good spot for it, especially, and I think the line dictates that Minnesota can win that, and the fact that they need a win, so they're going to be playing a little bit with a must-win mode. Last week I was on a game that everybody was on the opposite side of because they thought that it was a sucker play and they thought it was an impulse move based on week 1. And so I believe public money was on Denver and sharp money was on Jacksonville, but I like Denver this week. I'm going to force Jacksonville to beat me until I get off of them. I am going to force them to. So I don't give a shit that it's on the road. I think Arizona's looked good on both sides. I think Kyler Murray is playing with a nice aggressiveness, the same way we described Derek Carr. And I think that they're going to beat Jacksonville handedly. Or again, I could be dead wrong, and this could be the trap. It could come at any given time, but I'm going to force that team to beat me.
I'm not laying a touchdown with Arizona, but I agree with what you're saying. I was on Jacksonville last week. I took that L because Trevor Lawrence was gross. He fucking sucked.
He was so bad.
And that's after, by the way, people look at his numbers, his final numbers, and they're like, man, he really sucked. And almost all of that came on the first drive. Like after the first drive,
no.
He was embarrassed.
He was 8 of 24 to close the game.
Yeah. He was
And like
embarrassing.
I told you in the 24, because I swear there were it was 9 passes as they were trying to score at the end of the half. In the 24, there were probably, so what are we looking at there? 16 incompletions. I thought 9 could have been intercepted.
Yeah, it was. I think he only had 4 turnover worthy plays.
I don't know what they were tracking because I told you I watched every pass. It was it seemed like the half the passes were freaking deflected.
Because I think he tied for the league lead for turnover worthy plays.
How is that possible? Then Zach Wilson must have had 9 and 4 of them actually were turnovers.
Well, he only had 4 and 4 turnover worthy, and then he also tied with the other horrific quarterback in the AFC East.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. So
he loves it so much. He's so happy.
What are we doing anything tomorrow with
I love the under.
The despicable Davis Mills in for the MVP candidate?
Remind me, why is he despicable? Does he have some sort of Taylor Heineke background?
No, he's just a fucking terrible football player.
Well, despicable means that he's horrible off the field.
Sure, despicable at football.
Despicable
the awful player, Davis Mills. Who
you got that from a quarter and a half a play? You already know the book's written.
I also didn't think he was any good in college. Very average, and last week, I mean, he was not ready, obviously. And as we've said, for a rookie quarterback, coming in for an injured starter is the most ideal situation you'll ever face in the NFL. Especially a quarterback. Yeah, I think that's probably the right way to go. Especially a quarterback who is completely different from you, right? Where you have a Cleveland team that's completely trying to stop Tyrod Taylor and have trained for him. He gets hurt. And then Davis Mills, a totally different style player, comes in with the defense not ready, and you still can't do anything? That's not a good sign. And so, yeah, I think he's going to struggle. I mean, there is the hope that Carolina at 2-0 is kind of looking past him a little bit, and home teams on a short week, that's always a big advantage. But I don't think I could. I don't think I can make the case for Houston. I could ride the under. Although they could give up 43 themselves.
God, I'm hoping not. I really, the word despicable is applicable to the Texans organization. God, I would love the players to stick it to the Texans by winning 7 games. He's so great.
I don't think Carolina's going to put 40-plus points, even though that's Houston. They only put 19 up on the Jets, and I think that they would just rather just let McCaffrey do a bunch of running. The clock's going to run. It might be the first. I think primetime games, if I'm not mistaken, aren't primetime games so far 6-0 over? Mm-hmm. This would be the first under. Both Thursdays, both Sunday nights, both Mondays.
You could have got your wish. I mean, they were on their way to a 2-0 start.
I know.
Oh, I know.
You could have got the wish if not for.
Well, they were in that game.
Houston they were very much in that. If not for Houston's starting quarterback, I can't remember his name, getting hurt, they were on their way to a 2-0 start. So
what else, Willie? What else do you like?
I like after the Cardinals. I have listed right now as my number 2 play. I like the over in Chargers and Chiefs. The Chiefs tend to play hot. I mean, they obviously their offense is explosive, but September they just come out firing. It's a division rivalry. They both tend to play high. Kansas City drives the pace against LA or San Diego in Kansas City, and I just think it's going to be a shootout. And I'm not sold on Kansas City's defense, so I think that Herbert's going to go in there looking to throw all over that defense. I don't think that Kansas City comes in pissed off about Baltimore and looks to shut a team down. I think that they come in pissed off about the Baltimore loss, looking to kick the ever-living shit out of a team and run the score, run it up. They just, that's what they think that they can do. And that's what they thought that they could do in the Super Bowl. Let's face it, is that they're just going to turn it up. And they're not necessarily a defensive savvy team. It's all about just outscoring the other team. So I think the Chargers will hang with them for a little bit, whatever, but I think that score is going to run high. I got my underdog coming up, though. I
think you can bet over in almost every Chiefs game going forward until proven otherwise. I mean, they can't stop anybody, and they know, as you said, they have to score every time they have the ball. We just start laying it. I will say this is not a game I would usually like at all. Like I would usually absolutely be against this, but I kind of like the Niners. Laying 3.5 against Green Bay, I would almost 95% of the time be on Green Bay in a spot like this. But I don't like. I've watched Green Bay try to stop the run. They have no idea. San Francisco could probably run every play.
They have no idea.
They have no idea what they're doing. So, I mean, and I don't think Shanahan's going to be dumb enough to throw the ball. Now, the problem is they don't have any healthy running backs. But I don't even think it matters in that system. Just run all day. And Rodgers won't be able to get on the field. He'll be frustrated. And I don't know. I feel like that's a good spot.
He'll be working with his hair.
It's for a Halloween costume.
Yeah. We discussed it.
He's very dedicated.
Steve got in trouble with some listener on Twitter about we took too long talking about Derek Carr's hair.
It's a very important issue.
It's probably the first time in 3 years a listener was like, "Really, hair talk, sport talk radio?" I'm like, "Come on, dude. You're just like, are you new to the market? Cut it out." I'm like, "We've been on 17 years. We're still here." I'm not saying we're good, but that's what the show is. We are going to go off on weird tangents. Cut it out.
It was an important topic overall because I learned about the Floby.
Yep, I was shocked that you didn't know about the Floby. So
But by the way, I still don't know, Willie, and I know you tweeted about it. I don't know if my interaction with Carr was on camera today.
It wasn't. Robbie, we asked Robbie, he didn't get it.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Sounded good.
We wanted it so bad.
Did you tell him to go F himself when he subtly took a dig at UNLV?
It was a great reaction because he was leaving, and as he walked off, because it sucked because I actually wanted the last question. This is one of those things where I wanted to ask him really dumb questions, and you don't want to do that until the end, right? So, I try to wait, and I'm like, I'll get the last question so I can be the goofy question guy. And I wanted to obviously ask him about his shirt because he was wearing a Dunder Mifflin shirt today.
I saw that.
So I wanted to ask him who his favorite Office character was because we got the Jermaine Illuminor, for those that don't know, from England, grew up in London, moved to the U.S. to try to play football, realized he couldn't, he sucked, but then worked on it, got better, and then went to junior college in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So he moved from London to Scranton.
What's in Scranton? Lackawanna
Junior College.
There you go. Some good knowledge.
Yeah. And so I was like, who better to talk about The Office than Jermaine Illuminor, who moved from England to Scranton? And he's given us some good Office material over the last 2 weeks. So I want to ask Carr, because Illuminor said he thinks he's like a Dwight.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
No way. That's awesome that he's taking part in the conversation. That's great.
Yeah. Illuminor's like, I think I'm like a Dwight. This was what he said.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. But I was interested. So I would ask Carr what Office character he's most like. So that was going to be my question, but I didn't get to squeeze it in before he left. But as he was leaving, I said, because Derek likes to give me and Paul Gutierrez grief because we wear a lot of UNLV clothes into the press conference, and
I brought that up on the show today.
And he'll take shots at us. And I was wearing a Rebel hat today on purpose, knowing it was game week and Carr was speaking. And as he walked off, I said, "You nervous about Friday?" And he said, "Wait, what's Friday?" And I said, "UNLV's coming to town." And he just looked at me, laughed, and goes, "Nah." What disrespect.
And walked out the door.
What absolute disrespect.
That was awesome.
But I wish it was on camera. It would have been great, especially if UNLV wins. If UNLV was to go on the road and win, and we would have Derek Carr not being worried about it. It'd be great.
I think that if UNLV goes on the road and wins, that everybody's got to wear some sort of UNLV garb next Wednesday.
Me and Paul already talked about it. Like, we definitely are. And I'm sure we can get everybody else to join in too, but it'll be rough.
It has to be done. Yeah, it has to be done. All right, here's my underdog special. Although, well, actually, I think John Murray.
Never heard of him.
He was in. I liked what he had to say, and I agreed with what he had to say about the Rams today. But I had earmarked the Chicago Bears plus the points at Cleveland.
With
I
Fields?
don't know why. Huh?
With Fields?
Yeah. Something intriguing about it. I want to read more up on it. I want to release my 5 tomorrow like I did last Thursday because I think the total tomorrow night is one of the best bets. So I have to, each week I just reply to the previous week's best bets. And I got to, so if I'm, going to include tomorrow's total, I don't want to go back and say, okay, come back Sunday. Fuck that. I want it all in one tweet. So, but I like what he said about the Rams, but I got to have a dog. I can't have all chalk. So, but I originally put the Bears. So I'm going to be looking at that probably while we're sitting after we watch them stretch and do station drills. And then we have to wait another 2 hours for them to come in and talk tomorrow. I'll probably be reading about that game a lot. And then the other game that I got is the Broncos against your boys, Steve. Another game that someone may say is a trap, laying the points, but Broncos beat the shit out of Jacksonville. Now they can beat the shit out of New York.
Wait, Steve, did you watch the breakdown, the film breakdown
Of
the Jets?
I watched all the the kid. I know. You know what's funny? I friggin' rolled that in today. I mean, the Vast Sound Crew did. And I never sent it over, so we'll have to do it tomorrow. No, the kid, he's a fucking jerk off. Fuck that kid.
Come on, can we play? Do you have the video?
I can play just the audio. Do you need the video? You need the video.
The video's great. The video's great. Should we talk about games while you can go get the video?
Give me another game real quick because Mangano sent it over. I'll get it.
I can text it to you too. I have it on my.
I have it.
I love this kid.
We get it, Dick. They're not good. Is that bad calling the kid a dickhead?
So we're still waiting, obviously, on official. I haven't seen anything late tonight, but we're still waiting officially to hear on TJ Watt. I will tell you, Willie, that if TJ Watt is playing, if TJ Watt is playing on Sunday, I will be betting Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. First of all, I will say this. Listen, I understand the Raiders had a ton of injuries, and you have to overcome them in the NFL. It happens. If TJ Watt didn't get hurt Sunday, the Raiders don't win that game. Look at the stats before and after he was in. It was a completely different story. That was the difference in the game. That's the difference in Pittsburgh. They're at a point like the Rams are, by the way. It's worth noting on the Rams, they have done something which you have to do when you sign a quarterback to a big contract, and obviously they signed Goff and they traded him and got Stafford. We talk about this all the time. You close your window when you sign a quarterback to a big contract. But what you have to do is go with different approaches. So what the Rams have done, and it's working right now, is they have 2 extremely high-priced players on defense and a bunch of, minimum contract nobodies, essentially. So it's working right now. They have a great defense. If one of them gets hurt, and I'm talking, of course, about Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, one of them gets hurt, they fall apart. Kind of the same thing in Pittsburgh, where if Watt gets hurt, their defense falls apart. They're done. But if he does play, and we see what he can do. I mean, he taught Leatherwood some serious lessons when he was in there early in the game. If he is on the field, I think he does the same thing to Cincinnati's offensive line. I think he does the same thing to Joe Burrow, and I think Pittsburgh wins that game. If he's not playing, I'm off the game. But if he's playing, I'll definitely be betting Pittsburgh.
Definitely, I can see that, especially coming off of last week.
And by the way, Joe Burrow blew last week too.
Coming off last week's loss, though, I'm just saying Pittsburgh will most certainly be fired up if they get Watt back. I guess we'll should probably hear about that tomorrow.
Also Roethlisberger is obviously a question mark with the ribs and the midsection after the Raiders did a number on him. Deontay Johnson.
Did you go into their? I'm signing into NFL. Did you go in and look at the entire?
I love this. Did you watch this, Willie?
Oh no, not yet. I heard it. I heard it driving home. They played it on Sarah Spain played it. I was driving home listening to them because I was waiting for the.
It's so like he picked such a perfect play to go over too because the the right guard and the right tackle. I don't even know what they're doing.
It is so weird. You know what though? I hear the kid's voice, and I just said it again while I was muted. I was like, "Fuck this kid."
So just for a side note, this kid is supposedly 12, and he just does Jets breakdowns. But I also on TikTok, which is
he's like Andy Milonakis. He's probably 35 years old.
But I was trying to convince our friend Case Kiefer, whose son is 1 now.
Yeah,
I was like, we need to get him doing film breakdowns of the Raiders. That'd be awesome.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
If there's one play that sums up the New York Jets, this one has to be it. This Patriot's winning off the edge. This Jets lineman is probably holding. There's a Patriot charging up the middle at Zach with no blocking at all. This Jets dude is being pancaked on the ground. We have these two idiots staring at each other like, yo, what are we doing? I don't know. Let's just stand here.
I'm getting so mad. I'm getting so mad.
It's true. What are they doing? What exactly are they doing right now?
They're really hard.
You know what this is? This so reminds me of electric football, where you just have guys doing absolutely nothing, just spinning around.
But spinning, yeah.
Yeah, that's what those guys are doing. They don't even know where they're going. Also, what is the route here? There's 2 guys running a route to the same place. Both are covered. I don't even know what's happening. What is this?
I'll go back a little bit. Ready? Here we go.
The edge. This Jets lineman is probably holding. There's a Patriot charging up the middle at Zach with no blocking at all. This Jets dude is being pancaked on the ground. We have these two idiots staring at each other like, oh, what are we doing? I don't know. Let's just stand here. We have 78 touching his own lineman. On top of that, we have 2 receivers with 0 separation, and the cherry on top has to be Zach Wilson throwing this pick. And Corey Davis has no hops.
Do you think Salah is playing this at film session this week? He's like, listen, guys, this fucking kid knows what's going on here, and we have
Do you think that Salah gets asked about it? Does somebody ask him?
Oh, that was so great.
In the Jets media, yes,
that would be fantastic.
It'd be tremendous. The kid makes good points. I mean, he's no ball dinger.
That's not a kid.
You don't think so?
Look at my hand and look at his hand.
Okay.
He's got a big hand. If he's 12, I mean, like I have like my mitts are not gigantic, but they're not tiny. Is this kid like 6'6" at 12? Look.
Well, the camera's also up close to his hand.
So we've never seen his face. We just know that it says that he's 12.
I'm sure we could do some research, but I'm not. I will not dig deep on TikTok to find out if he's 12.
Well,
it's just
you're on TikTok all day, every day. Why don't you find out?
Should we have Ari get him on?
I know that'll be no.
Did you disagree with his analysis?
Jets kid in the company?
No. I mean, anytime someone really gets worked up at someone else, it hits to the core. I'm also a little bit jealous because I think he's already bigger than I am, and I know this was me at like 16. So I'm like, he stole my bit from freaking 1986.
So when you were 16, you were doing the Jets suck TikToks, but there was no TikTok.
There's no TikTok. I'd go around the neighborhood and fucking show them news clippings and a picture from the game and be pointing out to the pen.
I actually picture, because there was obviously no like video to do it, but I picture Steve bringing like those like the Polaroids they send down to the sidelines to the quarterbacks during the game, bringing it to the dinner table and explaining to your family how the Jets suck because this guy's looking at this guy's not blocking anybody, these two are covered. Yep. Corey Davis has no hops.
And I'm sure my dad was probably like, shut the fuck up. I told you to root for the Steelers when you were 8 and stick with him, you idiot.
Well, your dad's a Steelers fan?
No, but my dad I'm sure he has enough common sense to be like, root for a good team. They have Richard Todd, you putz.
Is your dad a Jets fan?
My dad is nothing. He doesn't root for. My dad was not into sports at all. So I don't even know how this. I don't know how any of this happened.
I mean, me too. I mean,
I
my
think I
dad tries, but he knows nothing.
Your dad's a better sports fan, a sports follower than my father. Your dad's listening to more sports talk radio than my dad would ever, and I do.
Only because of us.
I do sports talk radio. My dad's like, nah, I don't have time.
But only because of us. He'll listen to us. He won't listen to. Yeah, he does.
He listened to WI. You said he was like a WIP lunatic.
No, he just kidding. He liked the arguments and stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun.
All right. Well, we're all together.
That's good.
We're all together in some form or fashion in the next couple of days. So Willie, myself, and Candy will be on tomorrow at Silver Sevens. Thursday night football game, 77-cent beers, and then it's the three of us on Friday. We'll see what my role is on the show Friday. It'll be a little touch and go. So I will be in Fresno, and I actually have engineering duties I have to take care of. So
we might surprise you
Friday
with the guest on Friday.
Yeah,
is that right?
Can we book Jets Kid?
Yeah.
Willie, can you do me a favor? Can you surprise me with 5 guests so I don't have to book the goddamn show? Because apparently that's the direction it's going in.
Also, the last time Steve left us on our own devices, I think we kept Frank Caliendo for like 47 minutes.
The
clock. Ari just going.
Just you guys did the right thing. You ignored him and whatever. That spot started at 4:30. We're supposed to take breaks at roughly 4:42 and 4:56, and you guys were talking to him at like 4:58. You're just like commercials.
Yeah.
We don't care. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you coming in, and like I said, we'll be together the next couple of days in some form or fashion. So. Spread the word, man. The podcast is back 9:00, unless I arbitrarily announce that it's canceled, but it's back 9:00.